Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the February 3rd regular board meeting. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing. This past week, Wheeling resident and tollway worker that we all heard about in the news, Vince Petrella, was killed on I-88. And like I said, he was a resident here for 7 years, raising his family, 2 young kids. Keep them in your prayers and have a moment of silence. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Trustee Vogel?
Here.
Trustee Hein?
Here.
Trustee Kruger?
Here.
Trustee Lang?
Here.
Trustee Here?
Here.
Trustee Brady?
Here.
President Hardiris?
Here. Entertain a motion to approve the regular meeting minutes of January 13, 2014.
So move.
Second.
Motion by Trustee Here, second by Trustee Kruger. Roll call, please.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Hein?
Yes.
Trustee Kruger?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Here?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
President Hardiris?
Yes, thank you. Changes to the agenda, Mr. Svendelis.
Yes, thank you. There are 2 this evening, just so we stay a little more organized and are able to expedite the process for those that don't have to wait till the end of the meeting. We'd like to move item 13G to the beginning of new business. So 13G would become 13A, and then move appointments and confirmations to immediately follow that new business item.
Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second. Motion by Trustee Brady, second by Trustee Hein. Roll call, please.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Hein?
Yes.
Trustee Kruger?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Here?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
President Hardiris?
Yes, thank you. Citizens' concerns?
Members of the general public may address the board with concerns or comments regarding relevant issues. The person submitting a petition, concern, or other comment shall be allotted 5 minutes to present their points and should state their name and address into the record. Mr. Stamilos?
Good evening, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk to you. I own the property on in the area between it's Epikisik between 83 and Buffalo Grove Road. I've owned it for 30 years, and it was a rough piece of property, and I've been waiting until things could happen into the area. The economy got bad, so that I can develop it, but I wanted to develop it with Wheeling to something that we would be proud of. Along comes this Wyland Road situation, and they cut through in front of my property and do not give me access to get out of the property, but give me a cul-de-sac around the corner in Buffalo Grove Road, a little tiny cul-de-sac to egress or to the property, which is 3 homes and the entire, I think, 8 acres. On the other side is a little pond, a little stream, which you can't go over because of the Army Corps of Engineers. The corner is the Bank of America, Lou Magnati's Pizza. So I'm totally boxed in. So by them giving me this cul-de-sac, I have actually been given no access and probably 0 development potential. And I saw their plans. I went to the meeting in Buffalo Grove, and they got all kinds of major plans, but they totally disregarded my property. And I was hoping that you people in Wheeling could help me. All I need is a road off of the properties to Wyland Road, so at least I'd have an entrance that would be appropriate. I'm not asking for anything special. And I hear that they also have, Buffalo Grove has a water main that would probably be somewhere between my property and the new Wheeling Road that they might leave. That means I can't even put anything near there to build it. So I would like to get the easement of the water line moved under Wyland Road where it belongs, and I would like to have an entrance and an exit off of my property off Wheeling Road. And I would maintain the road. I'm not asking for anybody to maintain the road. I just cannot be boxed in. I wish I had the map here. You would see that it was almost insulting what they were trying to do.
May I respond?
Sure.
Thank you. Just so that the board is aware, we do have a solution that encompasses some of these comments, and it will be presented this evening during the agenda item. There also is a map, so you can see exactly what's being suggested by the county and what staff has come up with as a solution for these specific comments.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Anybody else?
No, that's it, Mr. President.
Consent agenda?
Consent agenda. All items listed on the consent agenda are considered to be routine by the village board and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless the board member or citizen so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the general order of business and considered after all other agenda items.
Thank you. I'd like to pull 11C, and I entertain a motion to do that, so to become 13H.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by trustee Lang, second by trustee Kruger. Roll call, please.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Hein?
Yes.
Trustee Kruger?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Heer?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Argyros?
Yes, thank you. New business, 13.
There-
Oh, I'm sorry.
That was a motion to pull.
That was a
There's-
motion to
we now need to
pull.
approve.
Any other concerns regarding the consent? Motion to approve the
So
remaining.
moved.
Motion by trustee Brady.
Second.
Second by trustee Hein. Roll call.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Hein?
Yes.
Trustee Kruger?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Heer?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
President Argyros?
Yes, thank you. Now 13, new business.
Resolution establishing a FY 2014 Special Events Committee.
Thank you. Mr. Svandos?
Thank you. At the request of the village president and the board, staff has created a fiscal year 2014 special events committee, which will last for the duration of this fiscal year to address the existing special events, to see if there are any suggestions to improve, and discuss special events as a topic within the village as a whole. This is a committee, and it will cease to exist at the end of this fiscal year. There are no budgetary responsibilities of the committee. They are simply a recommending body to this body, and each of their public meetings will be followed with a report to you based on what was discussed and suggested by that committee.
Questions? Entertain a motion?
So moved. Second.
Motion by trustee Brady, second by trustee Vogel. Roll call, please.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Hein?
Yes.
Trustee Kruger?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Heer?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
President Argyros?
Yes, thank you. I'd like to entertain a motion to appoint the following individuals. Trustee David Vogel for Village Trustee Board Liaison, Trustee Mary Kruger for Village Trustee Board Liaison, Marion Argyros Committee Chair, Christine Brady, Becky Vogel, Pam Dorban, Dawn Hem Graft, Joan Weiner, and Staff Liaison Chuck Spratt. Entertain a motion.
So moved. Second.
Motion by trustee Hines, second by trustee Vogel. Roll call.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Hein?
Yes.
Trustee Kruger?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Heer?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
President Argyros?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for volunteering. We're looking forward to some new things for the community, and I think this is a nice step where you guys can get together along with our liaisons and have some fun this year. So thank you for taking the time. We appreciate it. Getting back to new business, Madam Clerk.
13B, ordinance calling for a public hearing at a joint review board meeting to consider the designation of a redevelopment project area and the approval of a redevelopment plan and project for the Village of Wheeling Town Center 2 Tax Increment Financing District.
Thank you. Director Melansky.
Thank you, President Argyros. As you know, we are in the process of reestablishing 2 TIF districts. This is relative to the Town Center 2 TIF district. We will consider this ordinance calling for a joint review board meeting and public hearing relative to the eligibility study and report and redevelopment plan and project. The public meeting would occur on February 21st up at the joint review board meeting. This will reestablish the TIF district and give us the tools necessary to implement our redevelopment plan for the district.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Questions from the board? Trustee Hein?
Thank you. When we reset this particular TIF, will that be the same type of agreement that we have with the other taxing bodies, where there will be a surplus fund tied into that or not?
There will be an agreement that says that if there is a surplus, that we will consider rebating that money back to them. That's correct.
Right now, there's nothing in it.
I'm sorry?
Right now, there's nothing in it.
I understand.
Right.
I understand. But we did have that experience with Crossroads TIF and the Southeast TIF, where we have given millions of dollars back to the other taxing bodies,
That's correct.
and we should be spending that money in the TIF district. So let's be cautious about that, please. Thank you.
Just real quick, tomorrow night, there is a meeting here regarding the TIF. You want to just explain what that's all about?
Yes, President Argyris. This pertains to the Southeast TIF District, and we are holding a public hearing to allow all the members with addresses within the TIF district's boundaries, as well as the 750-foot buffer zone. All of those residents have been asked or alerted to the meeting, and we will have our TIF consultant available, as well as our village council and members of staff to answer questions relative to the TIF district.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the board? Trustee Kruger?
Thank you. John, I only have one question, and that's if this task for tonight, or this item on tonight's agenda, does this keep us on track on our timeline with the developer of record for the town center plans?
Yes, we have had a very aggressive schedule in order to reestablish these two TIF districts. We're currently working with the developer on the town center, but this is just one project of many in the town center TIF district, including Northgate Crossings. We also have the Kmart site, and this gives us the economic development tools that we need to assist developers in bringing these projects to fruition, and also help them with TIF eligible expenses. So we're on track. We need to keep this aggressive schedule in order for us to meet our objectives.
Well, I checked the timeline from the August 26th meeting, and we're dead on, so thank you.
Thank you very much.
Anybody else? Entertain a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Trustee Kruger.
Second.
Second by Trustee Hare. Roll call, please.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Hein?
Yes.
Trustee Kruger?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Hare?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
President Argyris?
Yes, thank you. 13C.
Ordinance amending Chapter 4.32 of the Village of Wheeling's Municipal Code, alcoholic liquor dealers, specifically Section 4.32.085.
Thank you. Manager Svendelos.
Thank you. Following the last meeting of the Liquor Control Commission, this is before the board to amend our code and add one additional liquor license based on the discussion from the last meeting, as I said, of the Liquor Control Commission.
Thank you. Questions? Motion?
So moved.
Motion by Trustee Brady.
Second.
Second by Trustee Lang. Roll call, please.
Trustee Vogel?
No.
Trustee Hein?
Yes.
Trustee Kruger?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Hare?
No.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
President Argyris?
Yes. 4-2, 4-3 pass. 5-2.
5-2.
Got it.
Resolution 13D, accepting a proposal from Christopher B. Burke Engineering Limited for engineering services to develop a stormwater master plan.
Thank you. Manager Svendelos.
Thank you. This board has discussed a couple of times over the last several months the idea of a stormwater utility fee. The result of those conversations is the contract that's before you this evening. Eric Gill is here representing Christopher Burke, who can explain a little bit more about the contract itself. This is really the first major step in looking at how that fee can be assessed and how that fee can be used. The revenue from that fee can be used specifically to mitigate flooding situations within our community. It is not going to be a fee that is imposed today. This fee will be created following the results of this study, at which time we will be able to take the results of this study and calculate what the number, what the fee, what the impact should be to each resident and business based on the projects that are outlined in this study, the timeline that is created for each of the projects, and most importantly, the budget that's created for each of the projects that are the results of this study. So with that, I would ask Eric if you've got something you'd like to say, or if the board has any questions, we can address them.
Yeah, I'll open it up to any questions.
Sure. Trustee Brady, I'll start with you.
No, very interested in the timeline for us, Erica. It's important we get this done this year so we can start this program and more or less strike while the iron is still warm from all these other projects that have been happening around us, helping people with flooded communities. And I think it's our turn now, and this is why the big emphasis is on getting Wheeling headed the right direction to control these floods. It's getting out of hand.
Okay. And the way we set the schedule is going to be done this year.
Good.
Trustee Lang?
Can we build the cost of this study into the fees eventually? Is that something that's possible?
Yes, it can be the first item from which we draw funds to replenish the cost of this study. So yes.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Trustee Vogel?
It's mentioned that we may implement a fee based on averages of other communities. Do we know what those averages are?
We have done a number of studies like this similar to for other communities. We can extract that information and provide that either as a memorandum to the village manager.
Okay.
I don't know if it'll necessarily be part of the study itself, but we can certainly provide that information to the village manager, and you can direct it to whoever you want to.
And I think the way we'll do it, you need that information so that you understand, what our relationship is compared to our neighboring communities. But weighed against that information will be the total project value of all the projects that are created as a result of this study. So you will absolutely have that information so that you can use it against whatever the calculations are resulting from the study.
What are the fees based on? What if you were to do a rough calculation now, what's the basis of the fee?
The basis of the fee are capital projects that the village envisions in the next 10 to 15 years.
I'm going to back up. Based on the usage, if we're going to charge a business a fee, is it going to be based on a usage?
No, it's going to be based on what other communities are using.
Okay.
In terms of what's an impervious area. In other words, if your site has a certain amount of impervious area, which is what contributes runoff to the system, that's what it's going to be proportional to.
Okay.
And on a residential level, correct me if we're probably looking at a flat fee across the board for residents.
Okay.
Businesses will be different. I've also asked staff to, when we do get this going, that it be a separate stormwater capital project budget.
Fund.
Dollars that are generated dollars are going to be spent based on this program, what we're trying to repair, projects that we're going to tackle. I don't want it to be where dollars are going into the CIP that do our streets, our sidewalks, or this or that. This dollars generated here need to stay in a separate budget that's reviewed by any board, a 5-year project plan like we do now with the CIP and so forth. So this is a long time coming, and I want to thank Trustee Brady because he's been part of with staff and meeting with and going out for the RFP and getting this going. So Tony and Mark and John, thank you. Any other questions?
I have one.
Trustee Kruger?
Thank you. Christopher Berg Engineering has certainly done other stormwater engineering studies for us before. Would any of those results from any of those studies be able to be used here?
Yes.
Good, thanks.
Anybody else? Entertain a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Trustee Brady.
Second.
Second by Trustee Lang. Roll call, please.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Hein?
Yes.
Trustee Kruger?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Heer?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
President Argyris?
Yes. 13E.
Thank you.
Thank you.
A presentation from the Human Service Department overview.
Good evening, President Argyris and members of the board. Tonight, I have the pleasure of presenting to you the overview of the Human Services Department. The Human Services Department consists of two divisions. We have the Division of Senior Services, which includes the Pavilion Senior Center, medical lending, senior citizen taxi cab subsidy, lunch at Pavilion, congregate dining, our advisory council, and the Senior Citizen Commission of the board. The Division of Social Services includes the services such as crisis intervention with emergency services, court advocacy, our outreach with the food pantry, our work with C.A.R.E, information and referral, and case management. To give a little history, the program, the social service program began here in Wheeling around 1991 through the police department. That program originally was an individual that was contracted through a hospital to work primarily with the mentally ill population. That transitioned into a police department position and began to work also with victims of crime. In 2001, a part-time social worker was hired with the Senior Center, and an additional staff person was hired in 2003 through a VOCA grant, that's the Victims of Crime Act, and that position is primarily working with victims of crime. And in 2010, we combined and formed the Human Services Department. The division staff include 2 village social workers, one located at the police department and one located at the senior center. And we also have a victim services coordinator. It's the grant position I mentioned from 2003, and that is also located at the police department. Some of the services you may or may not know that we provide, we have social workers on call 24 hours a day. They rotate their on-call shifts and provide crisis intervention assistance to emergency services, whether that's police, fire, or community development. We also have office coverage, so we have someone in the office from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Monday through Thursday, and till 6 p.m. on Fridays. Our referral sources for cases come from patrol officers and detectives, from community development, the fire department, hospitals, the court system, the schools, community social service agencies, DCFS. Some of those services include Catholic Charities, Wheeling Township, Omni, the food pantry, and also residents themselves. The types of cases that are referred, this information is taken from the past 3 years. On average, the largest group that we see would be victims of crime and domestic violence. Our second largest would be dealing with the mentally ill. Older adults is another large section, and then basic needs, juvenile, family conflict, and major crimes fill that out. The services that we provide include crisis intervention. As I mentioned, we're on call 24/7, but we also respond during the day, obviously. Court advocacy, where we bring victims to court or accompany them in court, explain the court process, prepare protective orders, and follow the court cases. We do case assessment and case management. We do a great deal of information and referral and community linkage, where we provide the residents with as much information regarding the community resources that we can to facilitate stability. And we also refer to either our in-house support groups or short-term counseling, and those are usually referred out. We do run several programs that are specific to our department. One of those, and we see the 4 here. One of those would be the C.A.R.E, Community Assisted Relief Efforts, and these are village resident volunteers that are trained to staff emergency relief shelters. And we were very busy this past spring. This is the group that assisted and ran the shelter at the Park District during the floods in April. This is a joint project with Human Services, the police, and fire departments. They meet 6 times a year. They try to do 1 or 2 mock disaster drills per year so they don't get rusty. And we provide training, and we're always in need of volunteers. The SAFE program, which is Shelter Care for Emergencies, this is a program that we have with local motels where we provide temporary lodging for one night to residents when they're displaced due to fire, residential floods, major crimes, things like that. That is usually done through either the police or the fire department. We also administer a program called TAP. It's Transient Aid Program. It's funds provided by the Northwest Suburban Interfaith Council to the police department, the Wheeling Police Department and the Buffalo Grove Police Department. These are funds for people basically passing through, homeless people, people who are down on their luck, don't have anywhere to stay, and the PADS shelters are not open at the time. This happens during the summer when those places are closed. It provides one meal and one hotel night, and these people are not residents. The police department actually does all the work for this. We just handle the administrative piece of that, reporting back to the funding source. Support groups. Something that we do a little bit of. We have several support groups. One of them is the Wish, Felt, and Dreamed Chronic Hoarders Group. This is a group for residents who struggle with clutter and hoarding. We make referrals from situations that we have within town and provide resources to help people through that. Pláticas para Mujeres means conversations with women, and that is a domestic violence survivor group in Spanish, and that's held once a month. That's run by our Victim Services Coordinator. Your Clock is Ticking. It sounds ominous, but it's not. It's actually a bucket list type group for older adults looking to really experience their retirement. And we're beginning in March a group, Caring for the Caregiver. This is a group that we will be doing with Catholic Charities, and we're providing a safe space for residents who are caring for loved ones, whether they're elderly loved ones or disabled loved ones, needing a little support and resources. And we'll be bringing in Catholic Charities to run that group with us, and we're really looking forward to that. And the Senior Services Division, and I think this is a beautiful picture, those services are located at the Senior Center. To give you some history with the Senior Center, as far as I can tell, the program began around 1983. The Senior Center was built in 1986. The Congregate Dining Program began in 2009. The senior services and social services were combined in 2010 to form the Human Services Department, and all the services that we provide through the Senior Center and for senior services are located at the Senior Center. All senior services are designed to provide village residents with opportunities for socialization, support, and resources to live independently in the community. Our most successful program is our Lunch at Pavilion program that we serve congregate meals on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 11:30 to 12:30. We have included in that entertainment and educational presentations. All adults over 60 are eligible. We request a donation of $4, but no one is turned away if they're unable to pay. This program is funded in part by federal and state grants administered through Age Options. And in fiscal year 2013, which is October 2012 through September 2013, we provided 4,451 meals through that program. So it's grown by leaps and bounds. Some other programs that are administered through the Senior Services Division, including the Medical Lending Closet. I think many residents are unaware of this program. We provide to residents for free of charge gently used medical equipment. We have walkers, wheelchairs, shower transfer benches, commodes, raised toilet seats. These are things that right now actually is kind of the season for hip replacement and knee replacement, so they're going out really quickly. These are available to anyone, though. You don't have to be a senior. You can be anyone living in the village. The resources are at the Senior Center. We usually lend them out for 6 months. Wheelchairs we limit to 3 months as we have less of those available. And we are taking donations of wheelchairs if anyone has one they'd like to donate. We also have a taxi cab subsidy for village residents. Anyone over 65 who is a resident of the village, they can register at the Senior Center. We just need proof of residency and age. We provide $2 off a trip, each trip for 8 trips per month. We use 2 specific taxi companies, which would provide all that information to the resident participant. And this is a great option if you are no longer able to drive or would prefer not to drive at a time. This really provides an option for people for transportation. The trip needs to either originate or terminate in the village for it to be covered. The Wheeling Pavilion Senior Center provides all kinds of activities, community education activities, including book club, current events, library lending, community open house and information fair, recreation and socialization, health and fitness. A lot of the health and fitness programs are also co-sponsored with the Park District. They provide our senior fitness classes. Arts and culture, we have a sing-along, we have concerts and entertainment. We also have the Happy Hookers. Now these are people who are knitting and crocheting. And the Stitch and Itch group, which are people who are doing stitching and making beautiful, beautiful things. We also have day trips. In fact, tomorrow I'm going to the Long Grove Confectionery. It should be kind of fun. We do go to theater events and museums, shopping, casinos, all kinds of day trips. And those were recently added within the past couple of years and have been very successful. We also provide for older adults in the community access to public benefits. We can assist people with the benefits access application. This is the new application formerly known as the circuit breaker, which helps people get a discount on their license plate or the free ride through the RTA if you're over 65. So people who are interested can contact us. We also help people prepare the Cook County Senior Property Tax exemption applications. Those came out recently. They're due on the 5th. And we're able to help people fill those out with proper information. We are a site in the state for the Regional Transportation Authority or the RTA Senior Free or Discount Ride Card, so anyone can come and apply, fill that out, and those cards will be sent to them. We also help people fill out Medicare and Medicaid applications. We're working with Catholic Charities to provide a day when they can come and help fill out the Medicaid applications and SNAP applications. That should begin in March. We have a SHIP representative. That's a senior health insurance program. It's a program through the state where they train volunteers to help people navigate the Medicare madness. They help people sign up for Medicare Part D plans, and these are people who do not represent any specific health insurance company. They represent just the person they're talking to, so they're a great option if you're looking for information on help with Medicare. We also help people with information on senior housing options and home health services and resources. So the Village of Wheeling Department of Human Services has their own phone number. I'm not sure if anyone knows. It doesn't get a lot of calls, but the phone number is 847-459-2606. And that one is answered 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. every day. If you have any questions or comments, I'd welcome them.
Thank you. Questions from the board? Trustee here.
Thank you very much for putting this together. It's very informative.
Sure.
Appreciate it. Very well done.
Thank you.
Trustee Hein.
Thank you. As we all can see, the Human Services Department has really expanded over the years. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to expand the facilities over there, and we are in much need of some more room. As the rest of the taxing bodies in the state of Illinois deplete some of their human services, the onus is put on the local municipalities. And I think that our staff, and especially Sherry, has really stepped up and stepped to the plate, because we are providing our citizens and our residents an awful lot of human services. And I'm glad that you gave the presentation tonight, because I believe there's a lot of new people in Wheeling that don't really know what we really do for them. So thank you very much, and let's hope we can get you a new building pretty quick.
Anybody else? Sherry, great presentation. I'm sorry, Trustee, the senior. Super senior.
Right. I don't need their services yet, thank you.
Go ahead.
Well, that might be questionable. Sherry,
I find it fascinating that the services we offer our citizens, and I think it's really great that we are out there to help the people, and that's what this is all about. That's what government's all about. who else can they turn to if not us for their needs? In this day and age, it seems like more and more people, because of the economy, because of modern life, I don't know what it is, more and more people need help. But one question, is this basically all just for our Wheeling residents?
Yes. The Social Services Division serves only residents of Wheeling. The only caveat that I would say is when we serve victims of crime, if someone is a victim of crime in Wheeling, we also serve them. We get them the services that they need. Other than that, though, the services that we offer with social services are only for residents of Wheeling. With the senior center, there is the option that people can, who are non-residents, pay a higher membership fee, and so they can join the senior center. So in that area, we do serve people who are outside, but there's a large, higher membership fee for that.
Yeah, in fact, several times in my tour living in Wheeling here all these years, I've seen social services in action through the police department, helping people that had problems, family problems, and the people had absolutely no idea what to do, where to turn, or how to get help. And the police department, one of the police officers was part of the social help, and they helped these families. Unbelievable. I was so proud to be part of this community, seeing that happen, and these people are so thankful that it is available. I think you're doing a great job, Sherry. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? As I was saying, great presentation. I think everybody has a good understanding on how your department works, what they're responsible for. But one thing I'd like to ask that's come to my attention, there are some communities around us that have actually set up a special fund. And this community alone has had some fundraising activity in the past year and a half for families that are in need. If it's okay with John, I'd like you to explore that. I'd like to see what those communities are doing and maybe report back to the board and to John, and maybe there is something based on a fundraising effort or something that if you can do it through your department along with, the rest of the staff, because I know there are families out there who are in need. We're testament of helping a couple of those families here on this board, and I think it'd be something good to start or look to explore. So if you have the time, when you have the time, explore that for us, because I know they're out there.
Sure.
Okay? Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
All right, 13F.
Discussion regarding the Lake Cook Road expansion.
Thank you. Mr. Svendos?
Thank you. I'm going to turn the presentation over to our village engineer, John Tack, but before I do, just wanted to explain a little bit about this project and really what the impact is to the village of Wheeling. Mr. Tack will walk us through the details of the project, and we'll have some visuals so that everyone can see exactly what we're talking about. The one thing, though, that impacts the village of Wheeling directly is that Little Aptekissick, that extension of Wyland, and how it impacts the property that we heard about during citizens' comments and concerns. The rest of the project really impacts the Buffalo Grove, the residents and businesses of Buffalo Grove. Although widening Lake Cook Road will have some benefit to the village of Wheeling, and we'll talk about some of those details as well. Some of the contentious parts, most of the contentious parts of this project have happened in Buffalo Grove, which is why their board has been dealing with certain aspects of this project before it ever came before you as it is this evening. So what you're going to hear is a recap of the project, and you'll hear some of those things north of Lake Cook Road that have caused some issue. But really for us, the question is going to be what we should do with the Wyland Road extension. The county is suggesting, as you heard, a cul-de-sac that would serve those three homes. However, staff agrees and came up with a solution that we would like your permission to pursue that we believe not only serves those residents better, but also sets up that property for redevelopment in a much more realistic way for what could happen in the future, both on the north and the south side of the Wyland Road extension. So as I said, there will be details of that. That's just my introduction. That's what we're looking for. There's not much that we can do to impact the project as a whole, but certainly this aspect of it is something that we can sink our teeth into, and if the board agrees, we'd like to move forward with the plan that you're going to hear for going against the cul-de-sac idea and more of a driveway that you'll see in just a moment. So, Mr. Tack, if you would.
Good evening. This first slide, I think we just wanted to show you the existing conditions in the area of the road improvements. If you look to the east, that's Hastings Road that goes off to the north there. That's the east limits of the improvements. And then, you know what, it would make more sense for me to go to this slide. This actually, the project will be completed in 2 phases. And like I started to say, the east limits is at Hastings, and it runs to Wyland Road and then south to Buffalo Grove Road, with all 3 of those major intersections there where the, I guess, orange dot is, those improvements will be completed as part of Phase 1, which is intended to start in 2016. And that's pretty much, the orange portion is really the limits of Wheeling property for the most part, with a little bit of exception along Route 83 there, where we go north just a little bit. The red, I guess it would be, is Phase 2, which is expected to begin in 2017, and most of those improvements would be in Buffalo Grove. Now, these limits are a little bit in flux right now, just so everybody understands that, you know, the project, the final design isn't even close to done at this point. You know, they still need to acquire right-of-way and those types of things. So there's a lot of work to be done. So these lines could be adjusted a little bit, but this should be pretty close. This next slide is, I guess, one of the major points of discussion for tonight. You can see to the north, the existing road that cuts through there is Route 83, and to the south would be Buffalo Grove Road. The lines in the middle would be the new Wyland Road alignment, and you can see ghosted in over the old short Aptekissick Road is the yellow dashed line showing the cul-de-sac that the county is currently proposing. The white lines that are extending off of the new Wyland Road alignment showing a driveway going to the north, feeding the 2 driveways to the residential properties, is what staff is proposing to submit back to the county as our recommendation of the improvements in this area. And as was stated earlier during public comment, we know that there are utilities that are currently running in the short Aptekissick piece. Part of our recommendation to the county with this new alignment and the money that they would be saving by not constructing the cul-de-sac would be that they would pay for the utility relocations into the new Wyland Road alignment.
Mr. President?
Yes, sir.
Can we ask a question while he's on this picture?
Sure.
Now, the drive that you're going to put in there, would that be a dedicated street in front of those houses still? And
No.
if so,
Sorry.
that's okay. Who's responsible for snow removal? Would that be the homeowners, or would the village have to go in there and plow those streets, or maintain those streets?
Our plan is to have this as all private drive.
Okay,
As
good.
soon as it leaves the new right-of-way from New Wyland Road, that would all be private drive.
Perfect. Thank you.
Can I just add, since we're on it, this may look a little awkward because it has 2 dead ends. The way this was designed was in partnership with both public safety departments. The reason it extends out the way it does beyond just the driveways is so that there's enough room to ensure that an ambulance can get in, that a fire engine could get in. So this was done not in a bubble, but with our public safety departments as well, and everyone on staff agrees that this would be operable.
Okay.
Sorry.
Trustee Lang?
Well, since you're on this slide, I really do like this plan. That cul-de-sac never made any sense when they originally planned it. And, you know, I hope it works for the property owner there as well. And it seems like he agrees. But this is a huge piece of property, and I share some of the same ideas that this can be developed into something pretty decent one of these days as well. And then just on the corners, is that going to be stoplight as well on
Yes.
Buffalo Grove Road and Wyland?
Yep, all the intersection improvements here will have stoplights.
Okay. Thank you. Good
John?
plan.
Am I?
Trustee Brady?
That piece of property that's going to be left between the old Aptekissick and the new, and the new Wyland, what's going to happen to that? Is it the old owner going to retain that, or is the county going to pick up that whole triangle for this new roadway?
No, a part of the existing right-of-way for Short Aptekissick would be vacated. Now, there are right-of-way requirements here, but they don't go to the extent, well, okay, to the east side, yes, you can see that based on the aerial, the right-of-ways cross into the new right-of-way. So there, it's going to probably even require a little bit of additional right-of-way. But on the west side, there would be a vacation that would be done from the existing right-of-way back to the property owner.
Back to the property owner?
That is my understanding.
Yeah, right, for the Aptekissick Road part of it. But then now there's another owner on the south end of Aptekissick, isn't there?
Yes,
Oh, on the opposite.
on the south side,
Yeah,
correct.
right.
Yeah, they would retain that piece of property then?
I don't believe, based on what I've seen from the right-of-way that's going to be required, I think the right-of-way for New Wyland Road would be into the old right-of-way for Short Aptekissick, if that makes sense. So there would really be no property vacated to the south property owner, based on my understanding of it.
I say, if there's ever a good chance to accumulate these pieces of property into one, so that when this property is developed, be an opportunity without having to run around and negotiate with a bunch of people. Maybe the one guy that owns the major portion of it can easily pick up the rest of it. That would make a nice rectangle there for a commercial development of some sort. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Is this road going to, I know this is just a rendering, but is the road proposed to connect on the other side, the north side, with Wyland Road? So it's going to come straight across the St. Mary's Parkway? So there's not going to be this, as you got your picture here, because you see Wyland Road there just directly to the right of it. So is there still going to be that where the people have to cross on an angle to get across?
They're going to line it up.
Is it going to line?
It's going to line
be
up.
lined up.
It will
straight
line up, yes, yes,
Perfect.
absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay. And just one last question on this. Since we don't want the cul-de-sac, jurisdictional transfer, is that going to be out of the equation here now regarding taking care of this road?
Based on the meetings that we've had with Cook County, we've made that very clear that we have no intentions of accepting this.
Yeah, thank you, because we don't need more roads to maintain. Right, Tone? There you go. Okay, go ahead. Finish up, Jen.
Okay, this next slide has to do with street lighting, and, as with the phasing slide, the street lighting pretty much follows the limits of the village. East side starts at Hastings, runs to Wyland, runs south along Wyland all the way to Buffalo Grove, which is pretty much all the village property. Now, the interesting part, I think, about the street lighting is that along Lake Cook Road, the right-of-way limit is actually to the north side of Lake Cook Road. A lot of times, the village limit will be right down the center of the road. Not in this case. Our village property is actually the north right-of-way limits of Lake Cook Road between Hastings and Target. So, that being said, with the lighting proposed in this reach and the lighting being on both sides of the road, it appears that we're actually lighting the Buffalo Grove side of the road. So staff is recommending that we do the lighting program, but that we enter into some discussions with Buffalo Grove to figure out a cost share plan and how this is all going to be worked out. Now, I did just receive an email this afternoon that stated that the Northwest Municipal Council would accept an application for funding for the lighting. So there's no guarantees, of course, but at least they're open to us submitting that application.
Sure. Questions? Okay, go ahead.
This next slide actually shows the limits of proposed noise wall. On the Lake Cook side, between Lexington and the west limit of Cedar Run, there's approximately 1,700 feet of wall that's proposed. On the north side, or the Buffalo Grove side, from Lexington to the east limit of the target property, approximately 1,400 feet of wall is proposed. The wall is going to be 9 feet high. We have not seen any detailed design information on this yet, so as soon as we get it, we will get it conveyed to you. We anticipate, based on our discussions, that it'll be a typical IDOT type design with I-beam and concrete panels that slide in. But like I said, we haven't seen anything yet on this, and their design engineer is supposed to be working out those details. And with those details will also come maintenance responsibilities. We don't know exactly what Cook County wants to do at this point in time. Of course, they'd like to give as much of the maintenance to us as possible, but we're still going to work those things out.
A couple things to add to that, just so everyone knows what we're talking about. Both sides of the street currently have a fence, not a noise wall, but a fence. So there's already that kind of barricade that's up there. But as Mr. Tack said, there's some concern about just concrete panels. So we are going to, as soon as we get those cut sheets of what these panels are going to look like, we're going to talk about options to make them perhaps a little more aesthetically pleasing, since we don't want it to look like a highway running through our town. So we will make sure that we include the priority of what this is going to look like, not just a function of the reason that it's there. So when we come back to you, we'll come back to you with what they're proposing and if there are any options for us to improve the aesthetic of the walls.
John, might I ask, what sets off the criteria for a noise wall? Is it speed? This is obviously not a highway, although it's going to have probably enough lanes in it, but is it the speed? Is it the type of road it is?
Well, it's 6 lanes wide, so I'm not an expert on noise walls by any means, but there was a study done based on federal standards, and it did dictate that this reach required the noise wall. So
It's also the proximity to the residential units themselves. If you can picture the north side where La Park is, if you can picture the existing fence that is in the backyard of La Park, where the fence is, this noise wall is going to be even closer to their house. Yeah. So it's not just, I think it's a factor of all three things: the width of the road, the speed on the road, and the proximity of a residential unit to the curb.
I often think about that. If I lived in a situation like that, would I want to be living in a box? Because that's the feeling you'd get if you had one of them pieces along the edge there, where you look out your back wall and 30 feet away, there's a 9-foot high concrete wall, versus something decorative, low, or whatever. That's what I'm saying. If the criteria is that you must have it, I guess we have nothing to do about it. But if this is something that's set off by the speed, maybe the speed would be 40 miles an hour through there, even though it's 6 lanes, do you really need a noise wall?
We will make sure that that's the case, but I believe the answer, like Mr. Tack said, is based on the study that this is what the county's requiring. So, but we'll make sure we ask the question. Okay.
Just as a follow-up to the wall issue and what my understanding of what they're going to do for us is they're going to give us, like, this is the standard wall. This is your allowance. Anything you want to do above and beyond that is going to be
on our time.
So this slide shows the limits of sidewalk. Now, I'm sure most of you are aware that the majority of these areas already have sidewalk. Now, with the widening along Lake Cook, a lot of that sidewalk is going to get destroyed and have to be replaced. So they have every intentions of doing that, and there's no cost to the village to do that, of course. The areas that I would point out that have new sidewalk would be on the, let's call it the west side of Wyland between Lake Cook and 83. And then I apologize because I know we looked at these slides 10 times to make sure everything was correct, but there is actually new sidewalk proposed along New Wyland on the north side, and then it turns and goes up Buffalo Grove north to connect to the existing sidewalk. So that should also be shown on there as new sidewalk also.
Why the difference in the size that it walks one side to the other?
Well, the north side is proposed as a combination bike path sidewalk, and there's an 8-foot walk up there right now through most of that. So why that was originally done, I'm not sure.
I know, because if I'm not mistaken, I think our ordinances call for an 8-foot walk on all, how should I say, commercial streets or roads.
When you add the extra lane that's going to be added in on the south side, we're a little concerned about how it's all going to fit, even with a 5-foot walk. So that certainly comes into play. It literally wouldn't fit.
Correct, yeah. And there's been some discussion about the 5-foot walk on the south side of Lake Cook. There may not actually be enough green space between the edge of the walk and the proposed sound wall for it to make sense to leave it green. So you could wind up with a wider sidewalk in those areas possibly.
I'd prefer that, you know, because you have a little strip of 2-foot grass, it's going to be a disaster.
Right.
I guess this would be the last slide, and this has to do with water main that was originally proposed with the northwest pressure zone improvements. This reach of road along Lake Cook coincides with those water main improvements. And you can see the longer blue line is actually about 2,700 feet of 16-inch transmission main that's proposed in the northwest pressure zone report. The other line, the 12-inch main, is there for the purposes of looping the Lexington development and the Cedar Run development, okay? Now, staff is recommending that these lines be put in at the time of construction of Lake Cook Road. And one of the main reasons is because of the issue that we brought up earlier. Things are getting awful tight in this roadway with sidewalk. We've got the foundation for the noise wall. You know, we've got all the other improvements, and we certainly don't want to get it out. Cook County won't let us put it out underneath the road. So it makes sense that this design go with Civil Tech, and they fit it in with all of the other issues that, you know, of utilities and whatnot that are being installed in the right-of-way at this time.
The county has been very cooperative. This is a huge opportunity for the village to get this in. Obviously, it's a money-saving opportunity because they're already digging up the road. It's a convenience issue. Of course, the last thing we want to do is dig up brand-new road. But there's also some financing options that the county has put out for us because we currently don't have this on the books. Luckily, it's far enough out where we can readjust our CIP in order to accommodate the project. But we wanted to present this to the board because we've talked about the Northwest Pressure Zone for some time and really never had an opportunity like this to get it off the shelf. It's been relatively shovel-ready for some time. This does not put the pressure zone in place. There's a lot of additional work that would need to be done in order for these main, well, the 16-inch main to be effective as an increased pressure zone. But this is a necessary part of the project that this is definitely the time to put that in, and allows us then to work at whatever pace we want to moving south to connect to a new tower, as we've discussed in the past, or whatever the case may be. No matter what, this 16-inch main needs to go in, and now is the perfect opportunity to do it. So we thought we would bring that to you as an advantage this evening, and we can readjust the CIP next year. Nothing needs to be done now, but if the board agrees, we can let the county know, get all of the engineering completed, and assigned to the project so that the county knows this is happening simultaneous to the road work.
Perfect, I agree.
Okay. Questions?
One last question. Thank you very much for doing this. I understand why they're doing this, but the big question is you're just pushing the problem further down the road, no pun intended. So long-term, are they going to continue with this project all the way to 53? So, I mean, extending the lanes all the way down Lake Cook Road eventually? And if so, how long will that take to do that, to bring the traffic truly out to the expressway?
I'm not exactly sure how far the extension will go, if it will go all the way to 53 or not, but we have discussed in the meetings, and, Darren, the village engineer from Buffalo Grove, has brought it up of, okay, when will you be extending this down through Buffalo Grove and further west? And the county has implied that, yes, they have that is certainly in their future plans to do that. But, with this project, Phase 1 starting in 16, the projects will probably overlap. Phase 2 starting in 17, before that's even done, you're probably looking at latter 18, maybe 19, to get all of these improvements in place. So it's pretty far down the road. I don't think they have anything planned right now, but I believe that is ultimately the goal, to continue extending.
Because the east of there, it's beautiful. I mean, just open straight up all the way down. So, yeah, thank you. Nice job.
Trustee Brady?
One last question. You've been working with these plans. Are any opportunities along this new stretch of road for any middle parkways along the, I know that there's some areas where you have left turn lanes and this and that.
We actually have an exhibit. We didn't bring it up tonight because we really haven't had a chance to get into it in any detail, and we wanted to discuss it with Public Works as far as the effort in maintaining them. They're not quite as wide as from back of curb to back of curb, the green space, as we would ideally like. So, and there's really no opportunity there to get more from the county unless they widen the road further, and certainly we don't want to ask them to do that. So, but we're just at the beginning phase of discussing that. So we're trying to figure out, we think there'll probably be a couple that we'll be able to save, and there'll be a couple that we just can't.
That's there won't be any opportunities along the sides for landscaping of anything of any consequences. And the only opportunity is if the medium between the lanes is wide enough to make a plant trees or something of the sort. I think it's important we do. Otherwise, that's going to be a cold looking stretch of road there without any trees or anything. So, and maybe at Lexington, I'm sure they'll have left turn lanes at Lexington. Well, behind them, as they get back into regular 6 lane, there might be some opportunities to put some landscaping in there. I think it's important. Thank you.
How many cars use that stretch of Lake Cook Road every day?
Yeah, I haven't seen any of the traffic reports yet. I'm sure that'll be further along. I bet they're done. They just haven't showed them to us. And ultimately, I don't know what we would do with that information except for here it is.
I think obviously for us here in Wheeling, I think it's going to help. Obviously, people are going to shoot down to Lake Cook Road and cut through and get up that way. It would be a quicker way instead of waiting in traffic along this way. So there's going to be some benefit to it, especially to this town.
Mm-hmm.
So thanks.
Anything else, John? No. Thanks, John. Okay. Keep us posted, huh? 13H.
13H is resolution authorizing the village president and the village clerk to execute an agreement between the village and the Wheeling Prospect Heights Area Chamber of Commerce and Industry for the lease of a portion of village-owned property located at 2 Community Boulevard, Wheeling, Illinois.
13H was pulled by, it was actually 11C, and now it became 13H. It was pulled by me. It came to my attention the last couple of days. There's some issues that staff needs to explore with the Chamber of Commerce before this can come back to the village board. So I'd like to entertain a motion to table.
So move.
Motion by trustee Hare.
Second.
Second by trustee Brady. Roll call.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Hein?
Yes.
Trustee Kruger?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Hare?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
President Harris?
Yes, thank you. Official communication, trustee Kruger, I'll start with you. Anything?
Not today, thanks.
Okay. Trustee Vogel?
No, thank you.
Trustee Lang?
Nothing tonight.
Trustee Brady?
I feel like shooting a groundhog, but nothing other than that, nothing.
Trustee Hein?
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Trustee Hare?
No, I'm all talked out.
Okay. Clerk Simpson?
On Wednesday, February 26th, the Wheeling Historical Society will have their annual White Elephant Dinner and Auction. It will be started at 6:30 and is limited seating. If you'd like more information or would like to come to it, please call Marilyn Cromie at 847-537-5714.
Anything else?
Nope.
Thank you.
Manager Spandelis?
Nothing this evening, thank you.
Okay, I just have a couple things. Trustee Vogel, on behalf of the board, the community, our staff, sorry to hear about your brother last week.
Thank you.
Our sympathy goes out to you and your family. Also, Mr. Handler, are you in the audience? Would you come up here for a moment? It was brought to our attention that you're got an anniversary this year, 30 years, and just want to congratulate you. 30 years. Wear it with pride. Thank you. That's awesome. You're doing a good job. Thank you. Maybe just to piggyback on, Manager Spandelis and I had met with representatives of the Kiwanis who have shown an interest of being part of our community. There will be a public meeting, hopefully set up towards the end of March. We're waiting for some, formal invitation kind of thing so we can reach out to the other taxing bodies and that. But it's a group of people that have been around for over 100 years and do some great things for the community. So we're looking forward to hearing from that. Also, just a reminder for those folks, getcoveredillinois.gov. There's a deadline of March 31st, 2014 for the Affordable Care Act. Again, it's called getcoveredillinois.gov. It's in our website. We had representatives from the governor's office at our Northwest Municipal Conference meeting John and I were at, and they asked that we get the word out. Not a hard website to follow. It's pretty good, and I'm sure if there are some questions, Sherry and her department are there to, as you heard earlier tonight, to give that support if there's some folks that need some help. So again, getcoveredillinois.gov. You have till March 31st, 2014.
The link is actually the top item on our website currently.
Right. And I think that's it. So I entertain a motion to approve the bills for January 16, 2014 through January 29, 2014.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Trustee Brady, second by Trustee Vogel. Roll call, please.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Hein?
Yes.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Heer?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
President Juris?
Yes. There's no executive session this evening. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Trustee Heer,
Second?
second by Trustee Krueger. Roll call, please.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Hein?
Yes.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Heer?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
President Juris?
Yes, thank you. Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Well, you can count me on home on the issues with
One of the same.